What's up, guys? Spenny. Joe Biden is not doing well. He is suffering from terminal cancer. He just started a massive round of chemotherapy, effectively poisoning the blood and the body. And, well, when he appears in public, he has massive gashes in his head. Nobody was able to really explain what this was, but you can see a probably 5-inch scar through the top of his skull. This was from Joe Biden attending church in Delaware. You can see him walking out of the church and with a massive scar on his skull. And then Joe Biden regularly has appeared in public and has been incapable and unable to talk or speak. Joe Biden appeared, well, just sitting at a restaurant the other night, getting some type of dessert, ice cream, right? But it's been a massive fall from grace for Joe. Joe has not been well ever since running for office, and then the pain and weight of the presidency just destroyed the guy.
We continue to think we have to make fundamental changes in civil rights, and those civil rights, by the way, include not just only African Americans, but the LGBT community.
He wants to get rid of the ability of Medicare
I did not oppose busing in America. What I opposed is busing ordered by the Department of Education. That's what I oppose.
Making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. With dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if you will determine the.
Okay, so you get it, right? You saw exactly what these people did to Joe Biden. It was criminal. It was evil. And now even Joe Biden is out saying, I didn't ever deserve to be president, saying I should not have been president. Now, these clips are particularly galling because the people who put Biden up for office, namely his wife, the people who maliciously and malevolently knew that Joe Biden was suffering from terminal cancer throughout all of this, because stage 5 metastasized to the bone prostate cancer doesn't just appear. That's not a quick cancer. According to experts, it takes like 15 years to develop. So when Joe Biden was running, they knew he had terminal cancer and they were treating him for it. And as the story goes, those treatments are what led to the just complete collapse, because cancer treatment's brutal and horrible on you and your body. Anyway, in the rare outings that Joe Biden has, they kind of looks like ice cream. I don't really know what this is. It's very strange to see Joe Biden just kind of like sitting in a booth at a restaurant, wandering around, looking frail, and now straight up telling Democrats, "I'm sick." No, actually, this is the famous post that Joe Biden put up to announce Kamala, who had stolen the throne from him. Now Joe Biden is doing the speaking circuit. This is the first time that we've seen him sort of doing a circuit, going to a fundraiser in Nebraska for the Democrat Party. That's going to be a tough booking, right? And Joe Biden astonishingly admitting to those Democrats that he didn't deserve to be president. Now he's saying this in regards to his son, that his son Beau should have been president. And he's saying this, of course, as concerns mount. Should he even be traveling to places like Nebraska? I mean, he looks terrible. Goodness gracious. Look at that. Looks far worse than ever. Is the scar still on his skull, or has that healed too? There it is, right there. Now they've tried to cover it up. Goodness gracious. It looks terrible. Oh, now you can see giant bandages here. He had smaller bandages on his head as he spoke in Nebraska, but what are those covering? I thought that was his hair being all weird. No, those are totally bandaged. These are bandages across his head and face. Yikes. Yeah, you can see them pretty plainly and clearly right there. What the hell are they covering up? They're still covering this guy up. Like, let him rest, dude. Let him rest. Jeez. Joe Biden astonishingly admitted that his son Beau should have been president instead of him. Okay, so that's what he said. Joe Biden's son Beau, he died of cancer. Joe Biden's regularly lied about his son
No
dying of
change
cancer.
in the quality of it, just changing the price. And they talk about inflation. You know, we're dealing with it for a whole second. Inflation is a worldwide problem right now because of a war in Iraq and the impact on oil and what Russia's doing. The war in Ukraine. And thinking of Iraq because that's where my son died.
Joe Biden's son died when he was the Attorney General of Delaware. Joe Biden's son died in Delaware, not in Iraq. Joe Biden's son did not die in Iraq. What a weird and terrible thing to say. But Joe Biden is in a halting and stuttering, pretty much like just a whisper of a speech, talked about how bad cancer is, and he was angry that that Donald Trump has cut government funding for cancer research. When the love of my life, my oldest son, it's weird. I mean, Hunter's still alive, right? Can you imagine, like, the Attorney General of the state of Delaware should have been president, not me. He volunteered to go to Iraq, and then he blames Iraq on him having cancer. That's never been proven, by the way. Biden went on to recount how his eldest son pleaded with him to remain in politics. His son Beau died in 2015 at the age of 46 from brain cancer. He worked as a federal prosecutor. He did not die in Iraq. Here's Joe Biden making these comments to a crowd that is very sleepy, and they can barely hear Joe.
And no change in the quality of it, just changing the price. And they talk about inflation. You know, we're dealing with it for a whole second. Inflation is a worldwide problem right now because of a war in Iraq and the impact on oil and what Russia's doing. The war in Ukraine. And thinking of Iraq because that's where my son died. Because he died. But the point is,
like, not trying to make fun of Joe Biden or his son or anything like that. Like, certainly not. You won't find that on this channel. Not trying to kick Joe Biden while he's down or has cancer, or his son for the same thing. I'm just trying to say that Joe Biden is looking rough right now. That Joe Biden obviously has strange bandages all over his head and body. He had smaller bandages across his head in a different location than this. Joe Biden's doing terrible, and he's somehow still being trotted out by the party to go, like, raise money, which is what this was. And then, like, just to straight up admit he should never have been president. It's funny the kind of things that happen when you're near the end, is what they say. Golden years. It's funny how, like, you get a little extra clarity. It's weird. I would never want to be in the position of somebody who Joe Biden loved or trusted, that allowed this to happen to him. It's one of the greatest evils that I've ever witnessed in politics, and that's saying a lot, because I've been alive for nearly the last 40 years, and there's been a lot of bad stuff. But this is just horrible, what they did to Joe Biden. Even Donald Trump says it. So, whatever. Strange thing to say, but a true thing. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe. See ya.